What's your name?
Hi, I'm Valencia.
And where are we at?
We are at Sojourners land, which is like the 3 acres of our like land movement. Um, our attempt to be engaged with the land in a way that doesn't involve ownership, in a way that involves like coming and doing stewardship and building our own tiny homes on wheels so that we are housed while we learn how to be free, rather than coming here with the need of housing and just a place to we try to make a little home sustainable, so that then all the effects of capitalism that keep us moving away from stewarding the land and engaging with these very violent forces of having to earn money just so you can come back and fall asleep in somebody's rented property. We own the land from a bank, but it's held in stewardship so that anybody can come and build their tiny home who is committed to the liberation of themselves and the land by it's a way of being more than just a physical space. But we do need the infrastructure on the physical space so that the people, again, can come. But that's why the whole idea of the tiny home.
Can you show us the tiny home on wheels?
Yeah, this is my tiny home on wheels, which I built in... I built while I was in Maine, and I built it while I was looking for land, because I said, I had this crisis, inside of myself, that just I couldn't keep moving and being on other people's land and pushed into spaces and kept moved all the time while my ancestors needed some place to be still. And I said, well, what is it that I need? And, it's like a home on wheels until we can find land to ground with. And, space to not be in other people's spaces, composting my traumas around my orgasmic lack of autonomy. So I had to find safe space in other people's things where maybe there would be people imposing their needs on my body just because I needed housing, right? So this is autonomous space. Wow. And I call my tiny home the OSS, which stands for the Orgasmic Safe Space.
Okay.
Because it's a place that I can do that composting and still be able to steward the land,
I see all these solar panels.
Yeah, this is my newest solar system, which is a 300 watt system, which I haven't set up yet, but I just got some of my comrades who came from Ida, work hard, to just move these pallets to help me, be able to set the panels up myself, because I know all the rigmarole of that.
Okay.
And these are the batteries that once I get my solar system set up will, be charged. That's why I needed the pallets moved, because I'm building just basically a solar shed. I just need to get my batteries, because you know where the batteries were? They were inside my house.
Oh, wow.
And that was off-gassing and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just I need to get these batteries out of my house.
Right. So
And
that they can then power the tiny home.
Yeah, and I need a shed, but I didn't have physical energy or even time to do it.
Okay.
But my tiny home usually has there's a stove, a camp stove.
Okay.
There, so I have the ability to cook, but it's hot. You know where my camp stove is now? It's in my tent, because I couldn't even look at it. It's so damn hot in here, because I have this metal roof and it feels hot, And I built this house, and it's still unfinished, obviously, but it provides me shelter and safe space. It doesn't leak. There's no mold.
You made the floor and everything.
Oh, absolutely. And I have actually all of the documentation of me doing that.
Wow.
Which because also I don't have time here. I haven't even had time to sit and like edit on a Windows Movie Maker.
Right.
What I'm doing.
Right.
So I have all of this.
Right.
And I've been documenting it since first nail, first screw, first everything.
Beautiful.
Every movement, you know. So this is the OSS.
Okay, here comes Leroy down the side.
Built in Maine, as you can see, because my trailer still has the Maine, so built in a Maine winter.
Right.
So this is some resilience.
Dang.
And built with an ancestral calling.
Okay.
And because I don't have a
shed
the basic
yet.
shed for my thing, I have to keep this covered.
Okay.
Over here's my lovely outhouse.
Oh, wow.
I really love this place. It is a composting shitter. Oh, that I left open apparently.
What?
You know, sometimes I do that, but it doesn't have anything in it because I always cover it with cedar coverings.
Okay.
But I usually close it because the critters like to. I once came in and found dung beetles who had turned my poop into like perfect little like looked like meatballs, and it was just like
Wow.
okay.
Wow.
I think I'll be putting the top on.
The lid on. Wow.
So-
I just want to point out to all the Homefulness Poor magazine folk that this compost toilet is similar to the one at Standing Rock, and what she has is the wood chips.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And how often do you dump and where do you dump the poo or the pee or the whatever?
The bucket
Yeah.
that's beneath
Just
has
a bucket, Moot.
it's
just
a bucket
buck.
composting system.
Yep. And it doesn't smell, by the way, guys.
No. And red is for poop,
Okay.
and white is for cover material. So I also put my tissue in here because the mice love to eat your tissue
Oh.
and shred it and like use it, whatever. It's a good place
Yeah.
to put your tissue and cover material. Awesome if you're like in a poop situation further on the land and you want to access that. The bucket system around here is red for poop and white for cover material. And they're after we do that poop, we have this lovely humanoid composting pile that Rose made as their contribution to the shit thing. So we were composting our own shit to make sure like in like a year or 2 years time this like turns into fertilizer. When you come over here there's no smell, there's no anything like that. Again, the red were for the poop. It's already been emptied. It does take a little bit longer for wet wipes to dissolve, but they do. They do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so,
And you can get the flushable ones, and they are more thing. But this looks like just nothing but just soil,
cool.
and that's all poop.
Okay.
I mean, composted now.
Wow. So you can actually just bury it.
No, it's not a burying it. It's a humanure composting bin. Yeah.
Oh. And so what do you do to make that happen?
You see how those this thing?
Yeah.
Well, at the first part, you kind of like dig to kind of like make a berm, like make a just something like so that a sponge. You kind of you dig to make a whole thing first, and then you put in your straw.
So,
Things on that, so that you kind of like have a little bit of a thing, like so. There's a
certain
little
material.
sponge.
A certain material you put in. And the material eats the poo, is what you're saying, or
Oh
dissolves.
no! This is Humanure 101, which I have a book about it.
Oh.
This is some Jim Jenkins Humanure composting,
Okay.
and this pile has been used by like people who compost their poop, like my friend whose house I built, where I built my house at in Maine. They have been composting their poop in this way for 30 years. Wow. And like, you know,
And then you're
they
saying,
built their own house, like their family homestead there in Maine.
so you're saying you can then use it for farming.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I didn't- okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, first of all, a lot of people for safety,
Uh-huh.
they would never put it immediately, even after like 2 years, which is it's safe,
Okay.
on like vegetable plants,
Right.
things that are immediately going to face. But it's perfect for
Okay.
like anything in your orchard. It's like rich soil, but for people who are a little like microbe thing, but you can like go through it yourself with the materials and see there's nothing there.
Wow.
Some soil like right,
Wow.
and the residual of like whatever wet wipe, but there's nothing.
What's
Oh,
this
and-
one up here? This other house?
That's the house that came with the space, and we're not exactly happiest with it.
Oh, there was a house on the space. Okay.
It was this 1850s motor home thing that
It just was here.
well, it's because it was full of black mold that
Oh, yeah.
we didn't want to put anybody's health in jeopardy by
Yeah.
putting them in there or even trying to demolish it without like learning more.
Right.
So we just kind of been listening, and then like, what are we gonna do with the materials, and like,
Right.
considering this being our first earth conscious engagement with the land, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna,
Right.
So it's been a little bit of a
Interesting.
overwhelming,
Yeah.
but we do use it. We do
There you
use it
go.
for a while. It's beautiful. We used it for storage,
Uh-huh.
and for a while before we had this deck,
Uh-huh.
that was our only covered kitchen, right?
Okay.
Nobody was in my house, and we didn't have anything. We had
Okay.
nothing else covered
Okay.
for a community kitchen, and there
Wow.
were 3 or 4 of us on the land at one time,
Ooh.
and we were all using,
Right.
that people camped,
Right.
camped
How long have you been here?
on this one, on these 3 acres,
Yeah.
or in the whole community.
This one.
On these 3 acres, I think it was a year anniversary after my mom's passing.
Okay.
That's how I remember it.
So it's been a minute.
Like, so what's that? 4 years?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
By the time
right.
I was able to finally move my house here,
Yeah.
it was done. It was like, we got it. Because like I said, I built it in Maine.
And
I
they
didn't- yeah.
and so you did buy it with a bank loan, a mortgage, or
Absolutely not. That was not our intention. Was to fully liberate the land so that we could have interaction where the people could come and not have to have rent at least be our primary fucking concern. Our
Ashe.
primary concern was like,
just
are
like
you want to
us?
steward the land?
Yeah.
You want to? I want to share some of the ways that I've been living lightly and composting my personal and ancestral wounds with the only being that seems to have the capacity to deal with the trauma that I'm carrying. That's Mother Earth.
Mm.
And I say I am on a liberation journey. Anybody who agrees with that and is willing to compost their ancestral alchemy energy, they come to me, and it's like all kinds of people, young people, old people, people of all colors and shades, but it's definitely intentional on Afro-indigenous, descendants of chattel slavery, and First Nations of Turtle Island who are engaged. We want our intersection of repair of our indigeneity from the colonization. Like that is what we're doing. We're doing this work of
Beautiful. It's repairing
saying
action.
you're not in the picture,
Right.
colonizer, because you can't help us heal.
Oh.
Because your interests are only served, your ancestral interests are only served by that. So unless you can be of service to us,
Right.
then you're nothing but a repetition of your ancestral energies, because
Right.
they don't know how to do it. They just, how can they know what
Right.
what their ancestors never passed on to them?
Right.
They don't have in their genetic and epigenetic and energetic memory.
Right.
Those are all the things that we do have. So
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
no, this land is not about somebody owning it as much as it's about us learning how to liberate our land for care and steward.
Oh.
Not that we're liberators. The land actually liberates us.
Woo!
We recognize that, but
That's it.
we know that we gotta liberate at least from the fucking chains of the banksters.
That's right. That's right. You heard it, family. This is liberated land, and our beautiful sister Valencia is doing it right here And before I run out of battery, I just want to say that there's a magical sound here that is the sound of silence, but or the cacophony of nature, as I would call it. So much medicine right here. It just feels, I just feel light. So I just want to thank you, Valencia, for your beautiful work.
So welcome. So
Ashe.
much love, Tony. Thank you.